Hello and welcome back to another video. So, in front of me I have the Tiger 131, or the Tiger 1, that I've been working on for the past month. So, this is the tank I've been working on. It's pretty similar to the real thing. Obviously, there's a lot of things that are not exactly the same on the real version and the Stormworks version. So, this is just going to be a short video to show you how to run it. So if you come to the rear, this is one way to start the tank up. This is the crank start that you might see in some videos of it where they would have a big old crank thing and start cranking. So they actually started from this way. What you want to do is you want to hold down the crank start. This will set the inertia wheel into motion to about 1100 RPM. I don't know if that's realistic, but it's what I have right now. Then you want to engage the clutch and then the fuel valve. And this will engage the inertia wheel, which will crank the engine and start it. So in the driver's seat, what you can do is, did I turn off the crank start? I did not. So once you get the engine actually rolling, turn off the crank start, and the RPM will go down because it uses an electric motor. So back in here, you're going to see the monitors flicker a little bit because they ran out of battery. But it should recharge when I start rolling because I have two generators. So one's actually right there, but that just goes from the final drive into the engine. There's another one at the back that connects directly to the engine. So to actually get this thing rolling, what you want to do is, if you look to the right, if you were going to start this from the inside, what you have to do is you have to go to the firewall back here and press this button. Now back into the driver's seat, then you can just turn on the magneto, and that'll raise the RPM to start the engine. If you do start it that way, remember to turn off the magneto. Alright, so to actually get going, what you want to do is you want to gear up. This will put the engine into first gear. Then you want to put it into forward. And as you'll notice, the kph is now rising. Max speed is about 20 kph at this gear ratio. Now the problem I was having was I couldn't really get a good system on how to control the throttle with W and S, so I just used the PID. So it'll keep the RPM at 720, and the speed you want depends on the gear ratio. Lowest you can go is 19 kph. And then to gear up, you just press the button in the front, and that'll change the speed. Maximum speed I could get it to is about 30 kph, which is a little bit realistic. Now for reverse, what you want to do is you want to put it in neutral, or you can just press 1 for the clutch. Set the gear ratio to -1, and then put it into reverse. And now you can go about 30 kph backwards, which I don't know if it's realistic, but that's what I have. Then you can put it in second gear, and that slows you down. And then to put it back into forward, put it to neutral again, set the gear ratio, and put it into F. Now for neutral steering, if you notice I have the gear ratio at 1. To actually do neutral steering, you just want to press 2, and that'll turn the engine in place by using a gearbox that reverses the direction. And then you can do the same with 3, which goes to the right. Alright, so that's it for the functionality, or driving, I guess you could say. Now into the gunner's seat. So in the gunner seat, you have a couple of controls. You have a light to your left, and you have a little bit of dials that'll tell you what the turret is doing. So if you notice, I have the power traverse controls here. This will turn the tank whichever direction you want. It only has 180 degrees of travel because I'm using a robotic pivot. I couldn't find a way to get into reverse because if you look right there, where the mantlet is, and at the rear, it's a little bit lower, so you can't actually turn it all around. And then to elevate the gun, you just want to tap these a couple of times to put it into the full amount of elevation it has. It's not much because of hitboxes and stuff like that. But it's at least a couple of degrees. And then there's a button right here, which will fire the main weapon. And that's just a recoil for the gun. Nothing too spectacular. And that's really it for this. This would be pretty cool as a multiplayer vehicle, as the commander could sit here and tell the driver where to go. Which is why I kind of intended that. Yeah, that's really it for it. Also, another thing, if you get stuck, just get into the seat and it will fix you. But that's really it for this. I'll see you guys in the next video.